To understand Islam and the Muslim world more, buy my book, The Curse of God, Why I Left Islam. Available in all your favorite online bookstores.
All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan, the ex-Muslim atheist, and welcome to another episode of Sultan's House of Sin. People talk to me all the time that, Harris, what about the predictions of the great prophet? You know, what he said 1400 years ago are coming true today. The most famous hadith that they quote is the one, Prophet Muhammad said that a time will come, the hour, judgment day will be close, or I don't think he said the judgment day, but he said a time will come when Arabs, goat herders, the Bedouins will be competing with each other in building tall structures. So they go, look, they built Burj Khalifa and the Saudi Tower and all that, Jeddah Tower, I think. Look, Arabs are building tall structures as Prophet Muhammad had predicted. But the second part of the same prediction is that slave girls will be giving birth to their masters. Now, we don't have any slavery, but they don't talk about that. They go, he meant something else. He meant that maids. It's not slaves. In this day and age, it would be maid. But did Muhammad not know the difference between a maid and a slave? Sure. Just ignore that. Wherever they get caught, they say just ignore that. So I'm just going to show you some hadiths where Prophet made some really, really outrageous predictions, and none of them have come true. None of them will ever come true. So let's start with the first one. The hour will not be established till the buttocks of the women of the tribe of Daus move while going round and round the Al-Khalasa. The Al-Khalasa was the idol of Daus tribe, which they used to worship in the pre-Islamic period of Arab ignorance. So the buttocks, who could have thought that the Prophet Muhammad would have actually predicted twerk, 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 twerk. Buttocks jiggling of women of the tribe of Daus or Daus. That tribe doesn't even exist anymore. So that means, no judgment day. The hour will never come now because the tribe doesn't even exist and the buttocks are not jiggling anyway. The booty shake. So that's prediction number one out of the way. Ridiculous prediction. The only actually, don't be surprised if some Muslims say, see, our prophet knew twerk. Nicki Minaj, you watched that Anaconda song, right? You naughty boys. Prophet Muhammad knew that. All right. Now, the second one, this is Sahih Muslim 912. The sun eclipsed during the time of the Messenger of Allah. He stood in great anxiety, fearing that it might be the doomsday, till he came to the mosque. He stood up to pray with prolonged qiyam, ruku, and prostration, which I never saw him doing in the prayer. And then he said, these are the signs which Allah sends, not on account of the death of anyone or life of anyone, but Allah sends them to frighten thereby his servants. So Allah sends these signs to frighten people about doomsday. That's what Prophet Muhammad is saying. Prophet Muhammad didn't know that we can actually predict all the lunar and solar eclipses 10,000 years into the future. So we already know what kind of signs your God is trying to send. Signs are obviously spontaneous. And again, I think even the most fundamentalist or the ridiculous of a madrasa chap would be like, that how do we get out of that one? That's just ridiculous. Prophet Muhammad didn't know how solar eclipses happened, and he got into what's happening. We know that in some cultures, I think it was the Aztecs who used to get frightened by solar eclipses. They had this deity. They believed that as moon comes across the sun, they thought that there is a god who's putting a hand and covering the sun, and people would actually be like, we got to sacrifice. They would sacrifice sometimes animals, even some human sacrifices to give us our sun back. And moon will just be like, hey, dude, chill down. I'm just going through. So that was the level of the intellect of the prophet. He didn't know that it's just a moon. Moon has an orbit, and sometimes it comes in between Earth and the sun, and that's what a solar eclipse is. But no, it was a sign. All right, next prediction, another silly one. The prophet prayed one of the Isha prayer in his last days, and after finishing with Taslim, he stood up and said, "Do you realize the importance of this night? Nobody present on the surface of the earth tonight would be living after the completion of 100 years from this night." Okay, so here you could say that, okay, maybe Prophet Muhammad is saying that nobody would be alive in 100 years' time because, we just live 60, 70 years of age and then we'll be dead. And Prophet Muhammad is saying no, but have a look at it. He says, nobody present on the surface of the earth tonight would be living after the completion of 100 years. Okay, most animals also live less than 100 years, but not all. Crocodiles, trees, there's so many trees that are older than 100 years. They can go 300-400 years. Obviously, Prophet Muhammad didn't know that. But okay, all right. Let's just think that maybe he was talking about humans, just humans. He was talking about humans who would not be living after completion of 100 years. Some people took it as he was talking about that the judgment day will come within these 100 years. Why they thought that? Because Prophet Muhammad indicated in other places as well. And I'll show you some of those hadiths as well. But later apologists said, no. He was just talking about normal people, that people die within 100 years anyway. Nobody goes past the ages of 100. So that's what Prophet was talking about. Let's have a look. There's another hadith, Sahih Muslim 2539. It says, Abu Sa'id reported that Allah's apostle came back from Tabuk, this battle of Tabuk, asked about the last hour. So he asked Prophet about the last hour, about the judgment day. There would be none amongst the created livings on the earth who would survive this century. Now he's talking about living things. So it has to be a judgment day, an extinction event. He's specifically talking about the judgment day within 100 years. At that time, what happened? Hey, you're 14 centuries too late, Prophet. So another false prediction. Let's have a look at another one. Prophet Muhammad said that I and the last hour have been sent like this, and he, while doing it, joined the forefinger with the middle finger. Sahih Muslim. This is how Prophet Muhammad and Judgment Day has been sent, meaning so close to each other. This is why I said that when he said it here, and people assumed that he was talking about Judgment Day within 100 years because of quotes like this, that God has sent him and the Judgment Day like this, so close to each other. 14 centuries. Is that what you mean by close, Prophet Muhammad? 1400 years and still there's no sign of any Judgment Day. Next one. Sahih al-Bukhari 3346 said the Prophet once came to her in a state of fear. So this is Zainab is telling us. Zainab, the Muhammad's ex-daughter-in-law, now wife. State of fear, and said, none has a right to be worshipped but Allah. Woe unto the Arabs from a danger that has come near. An opening has been made in the wall of Gog and Magog like this, making a circle with his thumb and index finger. Zainab bint Jahsh said, oh Allah's messenger, shall we be destroyed even though there are pious person amongst us? He said, yes, when the evil person will increase. So Prophet Muhammad is saying that an opening has been made like this. The Gog and Magog wall. Opening has been made, and that's where it is. Now, I know there's some other rivayas as well where they say they lick the wall and then they make an opening and then God recreates it because they forgot to say inshallah, God willingly at the end. That's why. So one day they will think, oh, okay, because they've been doing that for, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of years or thousands of years they've been doing this. But one day they'll be like, every day we come so close by making an opening in this wall, but how come the wall gets refurbished so quickly? Maybe we should say inshallah. And one day they're going to say that. One day they're going to say God willingly. And then boom, this army of orcs is going to come out of everywhere. And boom, there we go. But again, Prophet Muhammad here said that opening has been made in Gog and Magog. And look, fairy tales, don't you think there's fairy tales written all over it? Do you really don't see that? Okay, next one. Jabir bin Abdullah swearing by Allah that Ibn Sayyad was the Dajjal. I said to Jabir, how can you swear by Allah? Jabir said, I have heard Umar swearing by Allah regarding this matter in the presence of the Prophet, and the Prophet did not disapprove of it. So basically, Muhammad bin Munkadir is telling the story that Jabir bin Abdullah, swearing by Allah, said that Ibn Sayyad was the Dajjal. Ibn Sayyad was some dude. He was the Dajjal. The Dajjal. Dajjal is meant to come just before the Armageddon, just before the Judgment Day. And Prophet Muhammad did not object to it when Umar and this Jabir guy called Ibn Sayyad a Dajjal. So if the Dajjal was running around 1400 years ago, where is the bloody Armageddon? Where's the Judgment Day? Muhammad genuinely believed that it was very close. Judgment Day was very close, 1400 years ago. But then I look into these people like these so intelligent people like Shabir Ali and the Yasir Qadi. And I mean, don't they know this? Don't they see this? The guy 1400 years ago took him for a ride, and they're still going for it. Maybe that's why people like Yasir Qadi from time to time, they start doubting the faith, and then because they've created this life around them, they can't come out of it. All right, next one. It's the same one where he's saying that Prophet Muhammad did not object to it when someone said that Ibn Sayyad was a Dajjal. Ibn Sa'd was a Dajjal. Okay, next one. I heard Allah's messenger saying the last hour would come when the Romans would form a majority amongst people. The last hour would come when Romans would form a majority. Where are the Romans? Romans are only in Rome now. There's no Roman Empire left. There's not even a Holy Roman Empire left. Byzantine Empire is long gone as well. There would never be a majority. Italy is never going to be a superpower. The next superpower is going to be China, at least for another, I don't know, maybe 200-300 years, unless something really crazy happens. Romans are never coming back. They're not going to become a majority. So what is the spokesperson of the creator of billions of galaxies talking about? Obviously, he didn't know. At that time, he thought Romans, the Byzantine Empire, was a superpower, and then they will come back again in some shape or form. And that's the prediction he made. Again, bogus prediction. Okay, next one. The Prophet said the greatest war, the conquest of Constantinople and the coming forth of the Dajjal Antichrist, will take place within the period of 7 months. We know that the Constantinople was conquered, in 1428 or something like that, something in the 15th century, by the Ottomans. And the coming forth of the Dajjal will take place within a period of 7 months. That hasn't happened. There's no Constantinople. Constantinople was conquered back in the 15th century. No Dajjal came. Another false prophecy. The Prophet said the flourishing state of Jerusalem will be when Yathrib is in ruins. The ruined state of Yathrib will be when Great War comes. The outbreak of the Great War will be at the conquest of Constantinople, and the conquest of Constantinople when the Dajjal comes forth. So the Prophet struck his thigh or his shoulder with his hand and said, "This is as true as you are here or as you are sitting." Just had to do some really silly antics at the end of every statement just to make it more believable and philosophical. Ooh. So what is he talking about here? The flourishing state of Jerusalem will be when Yathrib is in ruin, meaning Medina is in ruins. Jerusalem will be doing really well. Well, Jerusalem is doing really well, but so is Medina these days. The ruined state of Yathrib will be when the Great War comes. Great War. Is that the First World War, Second World War, or just any other war? Well, there have been so many other wars. Nothing happened so far. The outbreak of the Great War will be at the conquest of Constantinople. All right. So the conquest of Constantinople, as I said, happened back in 15th century. If you are referring to that as the Great War, nothing happened. No Dajjal came. False prophecy. Let's get to the last one. There's so many others. I'll do them some other time. I will narrate to you a hadith, and none other than I will tell you after it. I heard Allah's Messenger saying, from among the portents of the hour are the following. Religious knowledge will decrease by the death of religious learned men. So all these Khadim Rizvis and all these clerics, they're just the fake ones because the good ones have died. Religious ignorance will prevail. All right, maybe he's talking about atheism. Right. There will be prevalence of open illegal sexual intercourse. Look at him. Straight into it. Third point. How obsessed was this guy with sex? Sex. Intercourse. Third point. After religious knowledge will decrease, religious ignorance will prevail. Well, obviously, if the knowledge decreases, the religious ignorance will prevail. I mean, they're both kind of tied to each other. So basically, the second point after that is there will be prevalence of open illegal sexual intercourse. And now, fourth point, again, obsession with women. Women will increase in number and men will decrease in number so much so that the 50 women will be looked after by one man. 50 women will be looked after by one man. That's every Islamist dream come true. That's what they're waiting for. 50 women, one man, 50 women. Wife number 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, 49, 50. Today's turn. Wife number 48. Now, the truth is, again, pathetic. Absolutely pathetic prophecy. Now, let me show you. Let me show you the sex ratio of people. Men are actually always more in number. I actually made a video. It says Zakir Naik exposes something on my English channel. You can go check it out. It's got over 100,000 views, where he actually made the same claim. Oh, look, everywhere you look, Germany, France, Britain, there are more women, there are less men. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw this, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 wives. Lie, absolute lie. There are no less men. There are actually more men in number than there are women. Let me show you some facts. It's called fact slapping. So on average, this is the world's average. There are 1.07 men per every 1 woman at birth. So there are more boys being born than girls. The only time when women's number increases is after the ages of 55 to 64. That's the time when 0.96 men per 1 woman. Now, obviously, at that point, nobody's trying to get married and make babies. Nobody's trying to do that. The only reason for that is men live shorter than women. And that's why, they die, unfortunately, because, their women nag them so much sometimes that they just say, okay, I'm going up. I'm starting the party early with my 72 virgins up in Allah's harem. So have a look at this. Throughout these ages, from birth till age of 54, there are more women. There are more men than women. And look at this. Let's sort it by countries. There are only, in Afghanistan, there are 1.05 men per 1 woman. There are only, there's not a single country where there are more women. Oh, no, hang on. There have to be. There has to be some. There you go. So there's some countries, Nauru, Kazakhstan. Only these 2 are the countries where there are more women than men at birth. So that's how they lie. But here's the great prophet saying that there will be a time when there will be 50 women per man. There will be prevalence of open illegal sexual intercourse. Yeah, well, that's been going on for ages, forever. It's been going on forever. It'll keep going on forever because that's what your God created. Your God created a system of banging each other to continue the survival of the species. That's how it works, and that's what your God did. That's the system He created. That's why it's natural to do it. So nothing wrong with that. But prediction turned out to be wrong again. 50 women per 1 man. So how do these people believe in this? All right.
To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.